December 9, 1941, the Japanese, Filipino and Americans prepare for total war. On December 9, 1941, in the wake of the initial airstrikes that had ravaged American airfields in the Philippines the previous day, both sides were moving quickly and making last-minute preparations for war. The Japanese continued their offensive across the Pacific, while the American and Filipino forces in the Philippines attempted to regroup and mount a defense against the impending Japanese invasion. The U.S. Far East Air Force, FEF, which had already suffered significant losses at Clark Air Base and Iba Airfield on December 8th, continued to face Japanese air attacks. The air attack was a resounding success for the Japanese. Nearly the entire B-17 force at Clark, one-third of the U.S. fighters and its only operational radar unit were destroyed, compared to the Japanese, who lost only 7 fighters and a single bomber to combat. Meanwhile, the fledgling Philippine Army Air Corps also felt the sting of Japanese aggression. Their aircraft, which included the Boeing P-26 Peashooter fighters and some observation aircraft, had been heavily targeted, and by December 9th their operational capability had been significantly diminished. Little did the defenders know, the first Japanese ground troops were already in Filipino territory. They established an airbase on Bataan Island, just north of Luzon, with planes of the 24th and 50th Fighter Regiments beginning operations from the Basco base on December 9, 1941. On the Japanese side, the Imperial Japanese Navy's 11th Air Fleet, comprising Mitsubishi G3M Nell and Mitsubishi G4M Betty bombers supported by the highly maneuverable Mitsubishi A6M0 fighters, continued to dominate the skies over the Philippines. These aircraft were vital in maintaining air superiority and softening targets for the imminent ground invasion. For example, before dawn of the 9th, Japanese naval bombers struck Nichols Field near Manila, knocking out more Warhawks and other aircraft. On the 9th ground, crews repaired damaged planes and strengthened their anti-aircraft defenses, especially in the Manila area. One battery of the 60th Coast Artillery was sent from Corregidor to assist in the defense as well. The pitifully small striking force, Task Force 5 of the U.S. Navy's Asiatic Fleet, led by Rear Admiral William A. Glassford, shifted bases from the Philippines down south to Dutch and British bases. The end of the second day of the invasion was a complete disaster for the defenders. In addition to their air forces being mostly destroyed, they also lost their naval support. The Filipino and American troops were effectively stranded. There would be no hope of resupply or reinforcements getting through Japan's blockade, although the defenders didn't realize this at the time. Most of them believed that U.S. forces would come in a few weeks to relieve them. The weaponry in the hands of these troops ranged from machine guns and large caliber guns to standard issue rifles, as well as mortars and grenade launchers. For anti-aircraft guns, the Americans and Filipinos deployed the 3-inch M1917 as well as 50 caliber machine guns. They also employed World War I-era guns, such as the 155mm GPF guns, as their heavy artillery, as well as 2 95-inch mountain guns. In accordance with General MacArthur's revisions to War Plan Rainbow 5, U.S. and Philippine Army troops prepared to defend the whole of the Philippines. War Plan Orange, which dictated a withdrawal into Bataan, was not yet in effect. General MacArthur believed in the Filipino people's ability to defend themselves, but due to lack of time to train, tragically neither the Filipino nor American militaries were ready for total war with the formidable Japanese Empire on December 9, 1941. The best-trained soldiers in the Philippines, besides the American 31st Infantry, were the elite Philippine Scouts. These soldiers had high morale, extensive training, and prepared for battle continuously. Though their strength was capped at 12,000 soldiers, they would soon become the backbone of the army in the coming terrible days that lied ahead. With the Japanese having achieved near-complete air and naval supremacy, the Philippines was primed for land invasion, which would begin the next day.